Is it? Can it be feminine to show emotions in a certain way? Sure, it can be. Um, but again, men are humans. We're allowed to have feelings. We're allowed to have emotions. We're allowed to be sad, allowed to be angry. I think really for men, where it becomes a problem is like what Precious said, when it becomes out of control. Um, Men, the thing that characterizes men is not the lack of emotion; it's the control of emotions. So, and that's what logic does for us. When you have a certain level of logic, it helps you to temper that emotion and use it in the channel where it makes the most sense. So I would agree with that. I also agree with the concept of it being on a spectrum. Like I definitely believe that men and women both have different degrees of masculinity and femininity, and it's good to embrace it. Obviously, you don't want to have an imbalance, but we all need both masculine and feminine qualities to be a complete person. So that's what I would say.
Paradise. What are your thoughts about it, man? Was that true about calling a man who expresses his emotion feminine?
Yeah, we see it when they use the word sassy. When men opt
What?
into behaviors that women are commonly associated with, then of course it's deemed as effeminate. Whether even when talk about gossip, they go from saying like, "Tell me the messiest person that you know. I promise you it's a man," or gossip and things like that. And it's almost as if men shouldn't have an opinion about things that are happening around them that they could be involved in. We do it in a different way. I don't think that regular people are just running around crying at the drop of a hat. Regular black women ain't running around crying at the drop of a hat at every minor inconvenience. So we talk about crying, right? Like average adults aren't just bursting out into tears for every minor little inconvenience. The reality is, black people, the men and the women, play a heavy part in stereotyping and over masculinizing and sensationalizing this hardcore, tough exterior that we feel like black men should perpetuate at all times in every situation. And it's very unrealistic. And so when we are seeing men who actually can vocalize themselves, can do it in a way that's not domineering and not aggressive and not passionate, it comes off as, oh, he's soft just because he doesn't raise his voice. Oh, he's soft just because he can hear what you're saying, digest it, and then he can vocalize himself in a way. And what Mike said was absolutely correct. We take the most negative stereotypes and we associate them with masculinity, and we embody those stereotypes because we feel like that is how a man should be operating. But it's really a brainwashing effect. We don't even realize that we're not creating the safe space and the healthy basis, not only for just the men, for the teenagers and for the little boys. It has to start somewhere. And once we're perpetuating the stereotype with the men, what happens is the boys have to jump ship from being straight boys to men. There is no graduation effect like teenage girls has. There is no grace period that we give with the teenage girls, because even then the 18, 19-year-old girls still get a sense of coddleship. They we immediately adultize the black boys, and it starts very, very, very early. If they can't be mama's boys by the time they get to a certain age, then they're seen as adult boys, and they have to be adult for the rest of their lives, and it's not fair. It's not fair at all. But again, I think it's because we are brainwashed to believe that boys and men should behave a certain type of way. And we perpetuate that. We perpetuate that for our own level of safety. We perpetuate that for our own level of comfort. We perpetuate that for our own level of just the ego all the way around.
All right. Christelle, your thoughts about it, man?
I agree with most people. I don't think it's feminine though. I think it's more like being oversensitive. And I feel like men are more sensitive now than they used to be. Crying is not a big deal when you have a reason, but crying just to cry, it's an issue, I think, for most women because like the man is not manly, I would say, over time. And I read about it, and it seemed like men has less and less testosterone, and that would be a reason why they are more sensitive, I think. But I would not say feminine because I don't think crying is associated with femininity. I think everybody cries, it's a human being thing. It's just that time change and people change, and this is the way it is. That's it.
All right. Demi, what are your thoughts about it, ma'am? Is this true about calling a man who expresses his emotion feminine?
For me, a man who expresses his emotions is not feminine. He's just in touch with his feelings, right? I think it's a beautiful thing that we're normalizing, because for me, that's where it seems as though it's moving, that we're normalizing men expressing their feelings. For so long, men have not had the community and support that women have had to have the freedom to be able to express their opinions. So, I mean, I love it when a man is emotionally intelligent and self aware enough to know that whatever it is that he's feeling right now is not personal towards me or the next person. You know, it's his reaction to whatever stimuli is. And for him to be able to process that and have a dialogue with the next person is that's amazing. Just like everybody was saying, it's a matter of being able to control yourself when you're feeling those emotions so you're expressing yourself in a healthy way. But yeah, just like self-aware. I definitely get where it's coming from, like the masculine and feminine energy, but for me, I just, because I'm all about normalizing it, so I just call it like a self-aware thing, for men to be able to express their emotions.
Is there ever like a cutoff as far as with men? I mean, it has to be a reason why they're crying, right? If they're crying every time they're expressing themselves, then do you find an exception to that? Because I hear y'all saying I think it's sexy when a man can express his emotions, but is there a limit? Is there a cutoff?
I'll say hell
I
yeah
think it's like
because
Well, I was
go,
I
go
was
ahead, go
actually
ahead.
I was actually the women. I kind of think most of the men would probably say so, but I'm just curious from a woman's perspective. Um, is there ever a point where you're like, okay, look, I know I said you could be vulnerable, but God damn it, you're crying too much. Every time you're coming in here, you're crying, and you just spit it out, get it out.
I think it's like what Trev said. You definitely need a balance. There definitely has to be a balance because, like I said last show, women want protection in it, and that doesn't always mean that you're putting your hands on someone, but you are still protecting because if she needs a safe space, she's going to look to you to be that safe space. But if you are overly emotional, then she's going to feel as though she doesn't have a safe space within you because you barely have a safe space. So I think that there is a balance. And I think that men need other people outside of their woman to be emotional with. You know what I mean? Like whether it's a therapist, whether it's your boy, whether y'all go play basketball, whether where you can because the way that you show emotion towards us and the way that you're going to show it towards your friend is going to be different. Y'all could go play a pickup game and talk it out whether your girl is going to want to know every little detail or it may be the opposite where she don't even want to hear you talking about what you're emotional about. So I think you have to pick and choose what you choose to share with her and then the rest of it give it to a trusted friend, a confidant, a therapist, someone who is actually going to help you get through it without even her knowing.